Hey, good morning. Thank you for joining me on Trail with Tanya. Today I am out at Guadalupe River State Park. Right now I'm hiking the Bauer Unit, which is the northern section of the park and considered a more remote area. It's not too far from downtown San Antonio. It only takes about 45 minutes to drive out here, which is nice that it's still relatively close to San Antonio, but it does feel a little more remote and out of the city compared to Government Canyon State Park. So this is one of my favorites to come to when I'm just needing some good old solo hike time. There are two different ways that you can access the Bauer Unit. You can either go through the main park entrance and follow the trail system down, and you would have to cross the river. It's not always recommended that you do that. It just depends on our water table and how high that river is flowing. We have had some rain recently, so I didn't want to chance that, especially since I have Duncan with me today. So I opted to make a reservation online and then enter the Bauer Unit through the back park entrance, which is a little difficult to find. There is no address to get here. The best thing to do is download the trail map from the park website, and then on the bottom left-hand side, Duncan is pulling on me today. Down on the left-hand side of the map are directions to the Bauer Unit. You do have to either make a reservation in advance and then fill out the self-pay, or you have to put your fee in the envelope and then, of course, drop it into the drop box. There are no facilities whatsoever at the trailhead to the Bauer Unit, so if your routine is to use the restroom before you get on trail, then you might consider stopping at the gas stations that are not too far from the park entrance. Otherwise, you're doing your business in the woods. Fun facts about the Bauer Unit. This land was originally owned by Philip Bauer, who was an immigrant from Germany. As the story goes, he received a letter from a friend named Marie. It sounds like maybe they grew up together in some kind of way, or they're family friends. Either way, she was working in a hotel and in New Braunfels, and she sent him a letter and explained to him that there was a lot of job opportunities out here for him and encouraged him to follow her. Philip Bauer was a carpenter, and it sounds like he took her up on the offer. Whether it was for the job opportunities or for her, the history books don't say. Either way, he opted to come here to Texas. The history books vary a little bit as far as the date that he arrived, but they do know that it was somewhere in the early 1850s, and it sounds like he came through Galveston. According to tax records, Philip Bauer had an impressive $3,500 worth of assets when he arrived here to Texas. So that translates to about $125,000 in today's dollars, which is, I think, impressive for a solo traveler, especially. He didn't seemingly come with any family members or anybody else, just simply following his heart for carpentry, apparently, and Miss Murray. So how he amassed that much is not really documented, but I do find that very impressive that he had that much in worth. He also, with that money, bought himself a horse and carriage and some oxen, and then made his way from Galveston to the New Braunfels area. And then that's where he staked a claim here at the Bauer Unit, which is just north of the Guadalupe River. His claim was 160 acres to start, and then he acquired, or purchased rather, several hundred other acres after that. Sounds like he cultivated the land pretty quickly. I think his specialty was growing Indian corn, and then he built himself a thatchwork house I do believe that him and Marie married very shortly after him arriving here. So I think that they were maybe close to their first-year anniversary when they moved into that house together. The house, impressively, still stands today. You can see it while you're here in the Bauer Unit. Of course, they have it all blocked off with fencing, but it is very cool to see that that house is still standing even today. Philip Bauer ended up selling a portion of his property to his son, and then it sounds like there was a few generations who maintained this property until it was sold to the Hoffines. Ooh, I'm not sure how to say that. But it was sold to another family. I believe it's pronounced Hoffines. And then that family ended up eventually selling it to the Bamberger family. And so a lot of the trail names out here are named after all of the landowners. This section of the park is relatively new for public access. I want to say that it opened up in 2012, so only about 10 years ago it became public access. In order to get to this section of the park, you do have to drive through another ranch. In order to get here, they do have free roaming livestock on the ranch. My favorite part is Duke. So when you come in, you may be blessed to meet Duke. Duke is a gelding horse that hangs out at the trailhead for the Bauer Unit. His nickname is the Road Bandit, and he is a master at getting snacks from you. He will charm you with his sweet boy eyes and take whatever snacks you're willing to give him. I did run into some ranch hands at one time and asked him, of course, if that was okay that we were doing that. And he said, absolutely, but of course you want to be mindful about the kinds of snacks that you're feeding to horses. So your best bet is to bring with you maybe some carrot sticks or some apple slices, just a little handful. There are a lot of hikers out here who bring snacks for Duke, so we definitely don't want to overfeed him on snacks. But he's a beautiful horse, sweet boy. He'll give you lots of love, and then he'll abandon you for the next vehicle that he hears coming up the road because he knows that more snacks are coming. All right, I'm back out on the Bamberger Trail, which is just a jeep trail you can see behind me, and I'm headed over to the Bauer Trail. And the Bauer Trail dead ends at my favorite little spot out here that nestles right up against the river. It's just a beautiful place to sit, and that's where I'm gonna have my breakfast this morning and show you this cool little spot that I found. Here I am at the Bauer house. Behind me you can see what looks like used to be his old workshop or shed, probably where he kept his tools, and here's the house. Look at how cool. So the tarp is new this year. I don't recall seeing that last year. So I suspect that they're probably going to start doing some renovations on the house soon. But you can see even the old windmill is here. I doubt that that was from him. I suspect that maybe that was from either the Hoffines family or the Bamberger family. But look how amazing this house is. He was a good carpenter, that's for sure. Here's the front of the house. And they have a sign up that describes what it is. It says circa 1878, but the history books describe that the house was built in the early 1850s, I believe. So here's his farming area through here. Very big pasture area. I know that he had oxen. It's hard to know where he would have kept the oxen, if he would have had a separate grazing field for them, or a separate barn. I don't know that I've seen other structures out here, but I'm certain there are. Either way, if you're out here in the heat of the summer, this is a pretty brutal piece of the trail through here. There's literally no shade whatsoever. But it feels pretty good today. Okay, once you get down to the end of the Bauer Trail, the trail splits. I'm going to show you. So you can see here the trail splits. There's another trail marker up there. I don't know if you can see it, but the trees up there, I don't know, it's hard to explain because you can't really tell in the video, but the trail does dead end right there. But if you take a left and then you head down this hill right here, it's gonna take you to my favorite spot. All right, when you get to the bottom of the hill, you're gonna come up to this section. Let me show you. Oh my gosh, that's my favorite. I love it. There's a cool little shoreline here. Plenty of space to roll out a little picnic blanket if you brought that with you. Very peaceful. You can hear the rapids in the background. This is definitely one of my favorite spots here in South Texas. So I'm gonna sit, pull out my breakfast, and just hang out and chill for a bit. All right, I found a spot right here by the rapids. Just gonna hang out, eat my bobos. Want to know the coolest thing about this bobos? I actually took this into the Grand Canyon with me. I still have yet to do a video on the logistics of our Grand Canyon hike and how it came to be that 6 months later I still have snacks left over from that hike, but I promise I'm going to tell you all about it just as soon as I can. But I'm just going to hang out here, nice little spot right by the rapids, enjoy my breakfast and the scenery, and then I'll have to pack it up pretty quick. We have some company coming over to the house this afternoon, so got to get home, shower up, and get ready for that. All right, I'm back out on the trail. I'm on the Hoffines Trail, and this is my second favorite trail out here in the Bauer Unit, and I'll show you why. Look at all this Spanish moss. It is so cool. There's just a huge patch of it through here. It gives it this really mysterious yet magical kind of feel to this area. But there's just a big patch of it through here that I just really enjoyed walking through. And fun fact about Spanish moss, it's not moss at all. It's actually part of the succulent family. And I just learned that it's also a distant cousin to the pineapple plant. How does that even happen? Is that like botany incest, that you go from a pineapple plant to Spanish moss? I don't know. Somebody tell me how that works. Another cool thing about the Bauer Unit is that if you are watching closely at the rocks along the trail, you can actually see a ton of different kinds of fossils. This whole area used to be under the Gulf of Mexico, so you'll see all kinds of fossils in different parts of this region, but this section especially, I seem to find a lot. It's really cool. And we're back to where we started. Wonderful day for a hike out here at the Bauer Unit. Highly recommend it if you're interested in a little more of a remote hike with some peace and quiet. It's beautiful out here.